First guest, I think this show kind of was the launching point for where we are with superhero media. You know him best as Clark Kent. Let's bring out Tom Welling. Tom Welling! It's amazing, right? How you doing, Tom? Yes, he's the Superman that is on time.
It's different.
I just remember to do this, and
I
then
didn't want to just wait for these other slackers. We want to get the party started, right?
Tom, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. You are Superman to a whole generation of fans without even having to put on the suit, which is incredible. And also, the one thing that I loved most about your show was the father-son relationship with Jonathan and Clark. Talk to me about working and cultivating that relationship with John Schneider.
Well, it was actually really cool because I knew who John was from growing up in Dukes of Hazzard. But it wasn't until like the second or third season he really did take me under his wing because I really didn't know what I was doing. And that whole like hand on the shoulder thing, that was actually John talking to Tom a lot of times.
Really?
And I remember it was like season 2, season 3, he goes, you know, I used to be on a television show myself. And I'm like, yeah, Dukes of Hazzard. He's like, you know that? I'm like, yeah. Why didn't you say anything? He's like, I've been too nervous. But he really tried to help me and protect me and guide me. And I think that carried over to the Clark thing because it could have been really easy for Clark to be like, I'm not listening to you. But it really just didn't feel like the right dynamic. So he's great. I still love seeing him. I love the guy.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but growing up, you weren't the biggest Superman fan, correct?
I mean, I watched the Chris movies.
Sure.
I mean, like when people say Superman, that's who I think of. But I wasn't like a comic book guy or any of that. So I think that helped me playing Clark because Clark didn't know who he was going to be.
Well, the only reason I mention that is because now you're a dad. Talk to me about how your relationship with Clark and Superman has evolved after becoming a dad and letting the dust settle after Smallville.
I don't think I could play that naive anymore. If you know what I mean, that'd be like real acting. But no, I think I appreciate the Jonathan Clark relationship probably more than I did at the time.
Sure.
No, it's really great. I mean, my boys think I'm Superman, so that's all I need.
That's incredible. I was listening to your podcast, and you said that your sons like dressing up as superheroes for like Halloween and stuff, and they won't. When you asked them, like, why won't you put on Superman?
No, they don't have one.
They don't have one.
They never asked for a Superman costume, and I asked he was 5 at the time. I said, why not? And he goes, because he's taken. I go, what do you mean? He goes, you're Superman. So they have like Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, like you name it. They have too many, to be honest. When they start going through looking for stuff, I don't know if anybody has kids, everything they touch just goes behind them as they look for something else. You know what I mean? And then it's just covered. But yeah, I was spoiled a little bit with that. It's fun.
Look, you did Smallville for 10 years, and it's really rare now that shows go on for 10 seasons, especially if you get like 20 plus episodes a season. Production-wise, you guys also changed the game because now it's a lot safer because you guys were doing like 16-hour days. Is that correct?
Oh, if we were lucky.
Lucky, really?
Oh yeah. There were times where I would do 14 hours on one set, drive an hour, and do 6 hours on another one. And I think that's all. I think actually because of social media and because, you know, it used to be you had to pick up a phone to call someone to complain, and then that person had to call somebody else to complain. Now you can just like post the complaint, and a lot of other people see it, so you can't get away with it so much anymore, that sort of thing.
Oh, we got DK!
Wow, we were just talking about you.
Brandon!
Tyler Heckman and George Boomer, here we go, Superman in the house. We have a full panel. I can't believe all these people came to see Tyler. They really do cast the Superman. Like I'm 6 foot even. I feel like I'm the shortest person on this stage.
I'm not.
You're definitely. All right, we have the full Superman here. How you guys doing, gentlemen?
I'm just surprised that all of these people came to see just Tom Welling.
Me too, by the way. Yeah, there's Reggie here. There you go.
Before us.
Yeah,
We said that.
I wasn't as happy to see you as I thought. We were having a great time.
The Tom and Joe Show. The role of Superman comes with a lot of responsibility and fan expectation. For each of you, how did you prepare for the role mentally, and what was the most challenging aspect of getting into the character's head? And we'll start with you, George.
Pardon?
We'll start with you, George.
We'll start with me. I'm way over here. I can barely hear it. No, let's see. I didn't want to think about it too much because it would have freaked me out. Strongest guy in the superhero universe. I thought of my older brother who was an Eagle Scout and is now an orthopedic surgeon. So I sort of thought, what would my brother sound like? And that's where I went. I didn't want to complicate things. So.
Tyler?
I kind of always thought to give him a little bit of an imposter syndrome. I think everybody kind of experiences that in a certain way. So yeah, he can do all these things, but there's still, he is an alien living amongst humans. So there's still that element of imposter in a way that you kind of have to deal with. So that kind of humbled him for me and made him very relatable in the sense of, I was almost played him almost embarrassed of being Superman. The idea of the name. So we actually in the flashback episode, we had the line where she says, how did you know this was happening? I said, oh, my hearing. And at first I said my super hearing. And I asked our showrunner, can we just say my hearing? And then she says, hearing? And I go, well, my super hearing. That's just kind of an aside. And then so when I leave at the end of that scene, they go, who was that? She goes, that's Superman. So she kind of gives the name. And so we kind of playing with that a little bit. It was it grounded him for me and made it more relatable. So,
Tim?
Can I tell a slightly off-color story?
Absolutely. That's what we're here for, man.
There he goes. I sort of, modeled things, or I could not get out of my mind Christopher Reeve because he was my Superman.
Same here.
But I remember one time Al Roker. Remember Al Roker?
Of course.
Al Roker came to interview me when I was doing the show, and this woman who was interviewing me said, Al was interviewing me, sorry, and he said, so what is it like doing the voice of Superman? And I said, well, it's interesting because he's always getting smashed, with stuff, and girders and trains, and electrocuted and laser beamed and all this stuff. And I said, so the majority of my work is actually a lot of grunting, straining, screaming, and yelling noises. And I said, come to think of it, it's a little disconcerting to think that the children of America have a pretty good idea what I sound like in bed.
Or the bathroom.
Better you said bed than the bathroom. I was
The woman from Warner Brothers who was there was like, cut. And they sent me a very nice letter asking me to please desist from saying things like that in public.
Brandon, I'm sorry you had to hear that.
Oh, Mike. I'm over it now. And you're not wrong. Because it's a thought that goes through my head sometimes.